Hi, my name is Judgment. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make your own PCM tracks for your MSU-1 ROM hacks. First things first, go into the description of this YouTube video. There's 4 links you're going to want to find. You'll also find them in the comments section if you want to look there. The first one is this PCM for MSU-1 starter kit. It just has a few useful things that I compiled together for you to use. Next, get Foosbar 2000. This is the music player that lets you listen to PCM tracks. So go ahead and download that. And once you have it downloaded, what you need to do next is open up Foosbar, click on Library, click on Configure, click on Components, and now open up the starter kit you downloaded previously. Under Useful Things, you're going to find this extension here, this application. Just grab it and drop it right here inside, hit OK, and hit OK. Now it's going to restart, and when you do, you'll be able to listen to PCM tracks. And when you get to the end of the track, it'll loop for you, so you can hear what your loop point sounds like. Most music players do not play PCM, so that's going to be useful for you. Next, go ahead and download Audacity. And once you have it downloaded, grab the shortcut. So right here, my shortcut. Go to Projects Template, do Music Gathering, and put the shortcut right inside there. It's optional, but I think you'll find it useful later. Next, go ahead and download Visual Studio Code. Once you have it downloaded, go ahead and install it. And once it's installed, what you want to do is open up your PCM Maker starter kit that you downloaded earlier. Open up Project Template, do PCM Maker, and with this right here where it says template, your JSON file, go ahead and right click and do Open With, and then go ahead and find Visual Studio Code. So it opens up with Visual Studio Code. And once you open up once, each time you click on these, they'll just open up naturally from then on. And we're going to come back to this later. So it'll look like this. It's just a little template I have. Now you're ready to get started. If you want to follow along with me, go ahead and go to Useful Things. And right here, you're going to find 3 music tracks. Go ahead and copy them and put them into Music Gathering right here. I like to have one folder where I edit my music and find loop points, another one to make the PCM. That's just my setup. Go ahead and open up Audacity. And there is 2 different Mario ground themes. Let's use the one for String Player Gamer as our first example on how to find a loop point. Now that we've uploaded the song, what you're seeing right here is the music playing. Anytime these go really high, it's a very strong, loud beat. And so this is kind of where you're seeing the drum section right here, each of these high beats. If you want to hear it, listen. Dun, dun, dun. And what you're looking for is a pattern where it'll loop. So if you look right here, this right here matches this little section right here. So this track should be looping right here. To check, go ahead and click right here in the timestamps area where this green arrow comes up, and it'll start playing the track there. So that is the loop of the beginning of the track. So now we want to find 2 identical points here. Now I'm going to choose about the 3rd one in right here. And you're going to zoom in by pushing in Control. And I like to use this high note as an anchor as to define where I'm at. So I'm going to use this first high note in this little section here. And I'm going to follow it down until it meets the line right here. It's an easy way to find the exact point on the other side where it loops to. So that is the 3rd kind of beat into the main medley right here. So if you look over here, that's going to be 1, 2, 3 right here. So hold down Control and click right here. And now this should be the loop point, but let's find that exact point right here too. So go ahead and zoom in, and you'll have to adjust as you go. Every time you click the screen, hold down Control, or it's just going to click a single point. So using this high note right here as an anchor, you go all the way down until it meets right here again. And now this should be an exact match loop point. If you want to test if it's a loop point, hold Shift down, and click up right here. And instead of keep playing forward, it'll actually loop where you have it highlighted. Just press Shift and click. There you go. You found your loop point and you're ready to write down the numbers. You can write down the numbers any way you want. I am going to use a spreadsheet today. So this is PCM track number 2. It's right here, 2 ground theme. So you want to have an order of start, end, loop, and we're going to find 3 numbers. Your first one's going to be right here with start and end selection. Right here is the ending, and right here is the start. But the start's actually where it's looping back, even though it's the start of your selection. That's going to be the loop point. So here's your loop point right here, and here is going to be your end section. Make sure this says start and end section because there's different options like what's the length of just this highlighted area. That is not going to help you out. Make sure it's start and end selection. Let's go ahead and type in these numbers. So first things first, the end right here, let's go ahead and type it into the end. Now right here, the loop point, we're going to go ahead and type in the loop point. All right, let's go ahead and find the starting position. So now we're going to go ahead and zoom in right here at the beginning of the track. And this is where we're going to tell it to start the track. So we're going to zoom in up until you can see where it actually starts playing music. See all this right here is just kind of blank area. So about right there. And if we push play, it should show the start of the track. All right, so right here is showing the start of the track because I have a single point, that's the start and end. This one right here is showing where the music position is. So if you look at this bar right here, that's where it's showing here. So if you type in this, it's not going to work. Let's go ahead and type in the starting point. And now you're ready to convert it to a PCM. We're going to go ahead and grab this track here. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to move it, a copy of it, to my PCM maker. This is your music folder. For all your PCM making, you want to put in the music folder here. And you want to rename this to just simply be the PCM track. That's actually an optional step, but you're going to find that it's easier to have a short name than a long name. So I just name it to be what the track number is going to be. And then we're going to open up a template. Okay, this is just the basic outline. The only really important stuff that you need to do is what's in green right here. And then also make sure you have the right name and where you're going to find the track. So some of this other stuff's just going to be optional, like right here, game. You could just use it for your own notes, like this is going to be the Mario All-Stars. And the PCM pack is whatever you want to call it, or you could just leave it blank. It's just a template. Now, this right here is very important. This is going to be the volume level of your PCM. This is what's going to determine how loud your PCM is. Almost all of them that you're going to do, you're going to want to do -21. If you just have 0 here, it's going to be way too loud, but -21 tends to be a really good volume for almost all your music. If you want to be a little quieter, then what you do is you actually make it a bigger number because it's negative, so -23, that's going to make a quieter number. If you want it louder, just kind of make it smaller, like -19, and that's going to be a louder track, but the majority will be 21. Now, right here, the output prefix, that's going to match your patch name. So right here, your patch ROM and your MSU-1 file name, you're going to want to have the exact same. So this is Super Mario All-Star. So you're going to want to highlight it and just replace it like that. So this right here is going to match this right here. Now, if you're just doing one track, go ahead and keep going. But if you want to do multiple tracks, it's actually good to stop for a second and copy and paste right here your template so that you have multiple. So I'm just going to paste a whole bunch. And then I would just start renaming them to be your track numbers. So like track 2, let's say I'm going to do a whole bunch more. And these are all going to be my PCM track number names. You can actually call these to be whatever you want. I just find it simpler to make it simple, just have it be the track name. So now I'm going to upload PCM2, just like this. And my track number, I'm going to do 2. So we're simply going to replace the numbers here. And right here, the file name, this right here is saying where we're going to grab our music from. We're going to find the music in the music folder right here. So we're telling our program, find my track here, and inside of it, the track name is going to be, you retype this number to be what you want it to be. So we're going to say 2. because if you remember earlier, I renamed this to 2. That's the reason why I keep the name short. It just makes a lot less typing, and it's just easy to do. So now after we've done that, this right here, the title, you don't have to rename this, but if you want to for your own notes, go ahead. So Mario Ground Theme is the song name. And now we're going to put in our start, end, and loop. These are just random numbers that I put in just as a placeholder. So let's go ahead and make it the right numbers. So they're the ones that you grabbed earlier. So we've got right here our start, 6040, our end, 1944397. Now, if you notice as I'm typing, it's important not to do a comma. And let's do our loop point. 148212. You want to do these without commas. If you put a comma in there, it's going to mess it up like this. See how that's just turned red saying this is not correct? And it right here, it says you got one mistake here. So I'm going to reverse that. And you're just typing in the numbers only, no commas. Then push Control S to save, or go ahead and just click File and Save. And now this one is ready to go. So it's just as easy as just replacing the numbers and naming your PCM. And now we're going to hold and grab this and drop it right here onto our PCM maker, like that. The first time you're going to use the program, I just freshly downloaded this. Sometimes your computer or virus protector is going to say, hey, we don't know this program, say run anyways. It's going to be a nice, safe program to run. It's created by QWERTYmoto, one of the administrators of Zeldix, and I've used it multiple times. It's going to be fine. It's no damage to your computer. And now you'll be able to listen to your track. Now, an important thing is make sure it starts without a pause. That sounds good. And make sure it loops okay. So come here near the end and watch for the loop point. There you go, went past the track time and it looped just great. You're ready to use the track. It's as simple as that. Now, I want to show you just a few more things though. The first one is what if your track doesn't have a loop point? For example, in Mario 3, when we have the king, after you fight a boss and you see the falling wand theme and you save the king, this track right here plays, and it doesn't loop. And it's as simple as just getting the start and end point. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's get a start point right here. So that's where our track's going to start, and hold Control and click over here, and that's going to be your endpoint. You can almost choose anything because it's not looping. And right here, there's your start and end point. So let's go ahead and type those in now. So the king returned, the start point, 3,331. And then this one here, 545 and 768. So we got our start and our loop point or end point. For our loop, I'm just going to put an X because we don't have a loop. Now let's go ahead and push copy. Come over here and paste your music here. And once again, I'm just going to rename it for convenience to just be the track number only. And right here, your template no loop, I'm going to go ahead and copy it and paste. So I still have the template. I'm going to do 115 and we're going to open it up. And just like before, we need to make sure we change the name right here. There we go. So copy and paste. We got the right name now. This stuff right here is optional, so I'm just going to leave it alone and not even worry about it. I'm not even going to give it a name right here. I'm just simply going to put in the important stuff. So we're going to say the track number is 115. We're going to find the file to make with 115. And now we're going to make the start and end point. If you look, there's no loop. So let's go ahead and pull up our start and end point. So it's this one right here. There we go. And make sure you save. And now you're ready to make the track. So just grab, drop on the program that QWERTYmoto made, and your track's ready. Now, your foobar player is going to loop the track, but the game itself is coded, the patch that for the MSU-1, it's coded to not loop. So even though the PCM is going to show a loop, you're going to be okay. And both of these are ready to put into your music set. Now, I'm going to show you a few more things real quick. And the first one is, what if the song is too slow? So let's go back to our very first track that we did, right here, ground theme. And it's actually slower than the game tempo. So if you want to change how fast it goes, highlight the whole thing, push effects, and click change tempo. Don't do change speed. If you do change speed, it will speed it up, but it'll also make it high pitch and almost sound squeaky. Do change tempo. That's going to make it faster without changing the volume. And you could say increase it by 3%, 5%. So I'm just going to say 5% right here. And now there you go, that's closer to the original speed. If you want to know the exact original speed, one thing I do is just download the original soundtrack, and you could just do that with a simple Google search, like SNES Super Mario All-Stars original soundtrack download. And right here, this is a really, really good website right here for it. And you can download the overworld theme. And so now I'm going to look into my downloads, and I can grab the overworld theme and throw it right here next to it. And then it'll help me be able to compare if the tracks are actually playing at about the same tempo, and I can adjust from there. Now, let's say you didn't like the tempo change that you did. You could just do the undo button right there. See? Go back and forth, and then you can try again. So, example, let's say I want to just make it super fast because that's the way I like it. Just go 10%. Now it's really fast. And you could just push Control Z or the undo button to take it back. The last thing I want to show you is, what if the track does not have a clean start point, end point, or loop point? You can actually create one through music editing. So I'm going to show you by uploading this track here from 8-Bit Big Band. And this was a live performance that they did, and it's a medley. And so it's not going to start the way you want it. See, what we want is about right here. So if you find a medley like this and you just want one specific track, highlight the area that you want to use. See, here's the end of the song. And then you're going to hit Edit and Duplicate. And you just made a new track. Use this arrow right here with the left and right arrows to be able to shift it left and right. So you want to send it back to the beginning after you move the track. Don't forget to come up here and reselect Selection Tool right here. Otherwise, this is just going to slide back and forth constantly. And we're going to mute the other track. And now we got what we want to work with. But it doesn't have a clear beginning and end, so we're going to make a quick beginning and end. So right here is the end of the track. So go ahead and highlight and do Effect, Fade Out, and that'll slowly have it be quiet until it does exactly what it says, fade out. And then you're going to highlight the part you want to get rid of, and this right here is going to silence it. So now it's just a blank part. But more importantly, let's do that at the beginning of the track. So if you listen, it was about right here that we wanted to start the track. There we go, that sounds pretty good. Let's go ahead and highlight the area we want to get rid of and silence it with this button here. I'm going to zoom in, and then I'm going to highlight the beginning of the track here, and you're going to do Effect and Fade In. Sometimes you're going to hear a clicking sound if you just start in the middle of a track, so the fade in will make sure it never makes a clicking sound each time the track starts. And if you push play, and now you can tell it has the beginning and end that you wanted. But we still have one more trouble with this track, and that is that it was a live performance medley, and so they don't play exactly the same at the end as they do the beginning. So there's actually no clean loop point. And if you actually try to loop a song without an exact match, you're going to hear a loud click sound in your game, and it's going to sound awful. But I actually have a workaround with that. So you find the area that would loop the closest, and you're going to duplicate that area. So you first find where you're going to loop, which is right here. and you find what's closest to it over here. And then you're just going to duplicate that little section like that. Now, go ahead and click right here. So for the time shift button, so you can slide it right over here, and you want to overlap it exactly. So you're going to have to zoom in by pushing Control on the wheel, and you're going to line up everything. So look at these beats and try to line it up as closely as you can. So I'm going to zoom in a little closer right here. I'm going to try to make it look the same. If you could tell, it's not an exact match, but it looks similar. And then that should work. Go ahead and play it and see if it works. Okay, so now we just matched up the beginning with the end, and what we're going to do is we're going to fade one song out and have the other one fade in, and now you've actually created a loop point. So I'm going to choose this point right here. So I'm going to zoom in, and watch, I'll have one song actually end by fading out, so effect, fade out, and this other one is going to quietly come in by fading in. So effect, fade in. Now let's get rid of all the rest of the stuff we don't need. So right here we don't need. Right here we don't need. And we're going to get rid of this right here. Like this. And if you ever want to get rid of an area you don't want, just use the scissors here that deletes it. Now listen to it. So what just happened is as you're playing, it fade out this one at the same time fading in this one, and it blends in so well you can't even tell by your ears. And what I just accomplished is now the beginning of the track right here is now playing right here smoothly, and you now have a loop point. In fact, I can loop this right here to this right here. So before you find your loop point though, go ahead and export the track. We're just going to call it 2. And you're going to want to find your folder. So let's see, the PCM Maker Starter Kit. And I'm going to send it right back to my music gallery folder I was just in. I'm going to save it, and it exports the song. And now here's my song right here, the new one I made. Go ahead and drag it right here. And if you look at your new song, it's now a single track right here. This is what we just uploaded. And now we just find the loop point. So it'll be like right here, and then we find the matching equivalent, which is going to be right there, I believe. Yep, that looks alike. And so if I show you, not quite exact, you just zoom in, use the high note as an anchor, move your way down until it meets the line, and then I just do it again over here. Right there. And that's a loop point. There you go. And you're good to go. One thing to recognize too is if you're finding the loop points without uploading your newest exported track, is look at the start position. It actually, when you export a track, for whatever reason, it adds in some extra blank space right here at the beginning, and it shifts everything to the right. That's why it's a little easier to find loop points whenever you just export a track, to just re-upload it, that exported track, and look for the loop points there. It makes it a little simpler, just like that. If you're curious, it adds 2,150 to right here as blank space whenever you export a track, just on the left side though. When you have multiple tracks like this, if you ever want to, just clicking right here and doing move track will let you move them up and down as you like, and you can mute and unmute them like this. Okay, well, thank you for watching. That is everything that you're going to need to know. So that's all the basics you're going to need to know to be able to make your own PCM tracks. I'll have 2 more tutorial videos that's going to go a little bit more in depth with a few extra things, such as how to way to know how to get a really good volume level instead of just guessing with this right here, get a very good volume level. And then my third one's going to show you cool tricks that I've picked up to make really complex music editing if you wanted to learn some of the tricks that I've came up with. And so that's going to be the next 2 videos. All right, you have a great day.